This episode is brought to you by DMC Insurance. DMC is a specialized underwriter of trucking insurance, providing world-class risk engineering and claims solutions. They are part of the Crum & Forster Group, a national commercial property and casualty group of insurance companies with an A-plus superior financial strength rating from AM Best. DMC is a passionate team committed to delivering the best insurance experience and results. Visit dmcinsurance.com to learn what you can gain by partnering with a trucking insurance company that is doing things the right way to protect you.
From Washington, D.C., this is RoadSigns with your host, Seth Clevenger.
Thank you for listening to RoadSigns, the podcast series from Transport Topics that explores the trends and technologies that are shaping the future of trucking. In this episode, we're going to take you back to McLeod Software's 2025 user conference in September. During the event, I had the chance to sit down with CEO Tom McLeod to discuss the latest trends in transportation management software and our top takeaways from the show. Much of the conversation centered on the rollout of new artificial intelligence capabilities for the transportation industry. We also discussed how carriers and brokers can maximize profitability in a down freight market, navigate uncertainty, and even integrate autonomous trucks into their operations in the near future. It's clear that recent advances in technology hold a great deal of promise for the trucking industry, but how can transportation businesses effectively harness these new capabilities? We'll set out to answer that question in this episode. But before we begin, I'd like to invite you to keep up to date on this topic and other important industry issues by subscribing to Transport Topics at ttn.ws/ttsubscribe. You can also text TT-subscribe to 571-622-0001. And now, without any further delay, let's play my conversation with Tom. We're here in Denver at McLeod Software's 2025 user conference, and it's my pleasure now to speak to the company's CEO, Tom McLeod. Tom, it's always good to chat with you at this conference. It's one of the major events in the industry calendar every year, and I always look forward to it. So thanks again for hosting us and sitting down here for this conversation.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and we're proud to see such a great turnout at the meeting after another challenging year in the freight business. But it looks to be a great meeting.
Yeah, and of course, some of your the conversation you had this morning in the opening session, you're talking about all the development work and really this whole rewrite of your Loadmaster and Power Broker products and really across your software platform, modernizing and reimagining the user interface. So a lot of work goes into that. Maybe just give us a quick overview of all the work you're doing and the process of rolling that out to your customers and improving how they operate and use the software to run their businesses.
Yeah, well, of course there are a number of considerations when you look at writing software and especially rewriting software. One is the maturity of the tools that are available, and are you using the tools that are going to have whole industry support, that are going to be supported for a long time, so that the investment that we're making and the investments that our customers are making just in the tools and the technology themselves are going to stick around. There's other technologies that are on the landscape so briefly, difficult to develop a large ERP product, in those technologies. But the other aspect is making sure that we're getting great engagement and great input from our customer base and from the market as a whole. Understanding what the technology needs to do, what the goals are, what works, what doesn't work. That process that's been developed by our product development group is really what has been almost our secret sauce to get new products doing what they need to.
Yeah, and of course we're here at a technology conference, so the term artificial intelligence will come up prominently, and sure enough, AI is a big topic here as well. And some of your advice this morning to your user base, to your customer base, is to dip your toes in, to lean in, to learn, to get involved, to not be left behind when it comes to AI, even if it means small steps in building some AI literacy and getting your staff using it on a basic level. Maybe just expound upon that advice a little bit. Why is it important for transportation companies, really of all sizes, to engage in this, to understand it, and to dip their toes in?
Well, because right now it's an important tool and one of the best tools that's available to continue to improve productivity. We believe that it's just simply another technology tool that helps you get more done in less time. That's what computers have been doing for 40 years, is helping companies improve their productivity and get more done, sometimes with less people, or just get more done and not have to hire a lot more people. AI, you need to be involved because it's real and it's really happening. It's not like some of the technologies in the past which got hyped up pretty big but never really materialized. Blockchain being one example.
Right.
So don't let that fake you out that AI is not going to do the same thing. Really, I'm advocating you get everybody in your company involved in learning what it can do and learning how it can improve productivity for each job role you may have in your company.
Yeah, it's very easy to see a near-term future where AI is so ubiquitous that we stop even calling it AI. We just talk about different functionality. It's just part of living and part of business operations. It's just par for the course. So it certainly does feel like one of those big sea changes in technology that's unavoidable for anybody in our industry. So it is important to lean into that, I think. And of course, McLeod also is rolling out its own in-house AI application, Impact Respond AI. So this is a very interesting use case, right? You're automating communications, so helping draft responses, to inquiries and taking these response times from roughly maybe 30 minutes, maybe typical, down to seconds. This is making companies more efficient and helping workers do more with less. Maybe just tell us a little bit more about this first application, how you're using AI in this one case, and how the companies that use your platform can improve their operations by using it.
Well, for all the automation that's happened over the last 40 years to make companies more efficient, there's still a remarkable amount of manual work that's going on. A driver calling to get information on a load, a shipper wanting to see, load status, and calling in or emailing in, and somebody having to manually go to the system and compose a response, a request for a rate quote, requiring manual information gathering to determine whether to respond to the quote and what rate to use. So a lot of that information is in the system, and so to help to automate that ability to respond, still at critical points with the human in the loop, being able to quickly review and then transmit send on the information going out when that's appropriate. That's still an important factor because again, AI, it's not really intelligence. It's a computer program doing what computers are programmed to do, but the productivity increases are quite remarkable.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, you're not going alone. You're not trying to boil the ocean with AI at McLeod Software. You do have your in-house development work, but you're also bringing in all kinds of third-party partners, other industry developers. You have quite a few of them here in the exhibit hall at your show. 9 by your count, I believe, was the number of AI developers in the exhibit hall here. Maybe just give us some guidance on how you think about where to spend your own R&D dollars to build AI capabilities in-house at McLeod, and where you choose to partner with other players in our industry to fit into the ecosystem so your customers can benefit from what they're doing. Chances are your customers aren't going to be too eager to adopt some of these technologies if they don't plug and play and fit well with the core operating system that they're using to run their business.
Well, there's really dozens of applications where AI can come into play and make it more productive. We could have hundreds of people working on various AI functions. And so there are other players that are going to bring functionality to the market, which are going to be helpful to companies, sometimes just in their niche market, their niche marketplace. That's one thing that's made it so interesting and challenging to serve such an industry. We're focusing on areas that do have a big payoff, where there is still a lot of manual work going on, and where a tight connection to the data and the database is very important. Obviously, we know that our data and our system, better than anybody on the outside, and where that, is important and comes into play, that'll be the area of our focus, for our AI development, especially initially.
Okay. And of course, there's always some conversation, in some cases angst, about the future of the workforce whenever we talk about AI. You're presenting it as a tool. This is the sort of the latest tool that you can use to improve your operations. This is something you can use to be a better, more efficient company. But think about how back office jobs in the transportation industry, dispatchers, how those roles can change over time. Clearly, the low-hanging fruit is to automate some of the routine, mundane tasks that you described. How do you see it changing maybe the day-to-day jobs of folks who work in the office jobs in the transportation industry over time?
Well, it will make it a better job. It'll make it a more sophisticated job. It'll make it a job where, instead of a lot of the mundane work, you're doing more, where the human touch and judgment really comes into play. And there may be fewer jobs if one person can get more done in less time. There could be fewer jobs. Similarly, when I say we replaced typewriters 40 years ago with the initial computer systems that would print the check and print the freight bill. Some companies had, a small army of people at desk, typing out these documents. I don't think anybody wants to go back to that. Some of the people on the typewriter, lost that job, but it created other jobs, and improvements in productivity always do that. Another example I use occasionally is, in 1900, 50% of the population lived and worked on a farm. Today it's 3%. I don't think we're interested in going back to the 50% either. So it really, again, including improving the productivity and therefore potential profitability, of the companies themselves, it makes the job better.
Yeah, I think it'll be more of a high-level job, maybe more customer-facing, customer service, more doing what people are good at, and let the computers do what computers are better at.
Right.
But it is interesting and fascinating to think about how some of the daily tasks and job roles might change over time in our industry. Another topic that's been prominent here and everywhere in the industry is freight demand and freight rates. Is probably the better way to talk about it. It's been a soft freight market really for more than 3 years. So it's been a real slog for trucking companies, for logistics companies, really thin margins. It's always a thin margin business, but really it's a really difficult business environment, and has been for quite some time now, due to really this persistent overcapacity. Just too many trucks compared with the amount of freight to move, and that's kept a lid on rates. And that, I think, makes it even more important for companies to maximize profitability and really protect their margins and make good decisions about the business they emphasize, the business they prioritize, and maybe even the business they turn down because it's not profitable enough. Maybe just speak to the business intelligence you can provide at McLeod to help customers make those right decisions and really just kind of survive this down market and get to that point where they're really ready to hopefully be really successful when the market does turn.
Well, when making decisions, especially in a business, it's really important to have the correct information, to have it on a timely basis, so that you've got the visibility to make a better decision. The days of just making it on gut feel are long gone. Really, when you get the real numbers, you're always surprised. Some of the assumptions you made, or that your gut feel may have told you, turns out maybe aren't correct, not as correct as you thought. So being able to have a picture of what's actually happening, and to have it on a timely basis in order to know which freight to go after, how to set rates, how to accept freight, and how to turn down freight. All that's crucial these days, as margins have gotten so tight, and not likely to get better, at least by Monday morning. So.
Yeah, and we'll hope for it to be that turnaround to come as soon as possible. But from the business management standpoint, it's doing as much as you can in the down market and getting through this until it finally changes.
Yeah, again, we're saying turn it around, but to me, it's purely a function of having the correct number of trucks on the road compared to the freight that's available. And as soon as that happens, freight rates will immediately go where they need to.
Yeah, and for folks who are maybe newer to the industry, I think it's important to remember that 2021 was an anomaly, right? That was a very unique market when there's all this demand and not enough capacity, and clearly there was an overcorrection, but it sure doesn't look like we're going back to that anytime soon, so don't expect it. Hopefully we just get back to a better equilibrium.
Right.
That's more fairer rates, more appropriate rates for carriers in our industry. Another topic I wanted to maybe zoom out a little bit here is to look at the broader supply chain, including international freight. A lot of policy changes this year with the second Trump administration, looking at higher tariffs, really just changes across really the whole board in terms of supply chain movements and what that means for the future of freight. I think that we can expect this acceleration of the existing trend toward nearshoring, and hopefully we'll see some reshoring as well of manufacturing. That'll have to play out over time, and we'll see how much of that really materializes. But and you think about the long term, we can envision changes in freight patterns, but it's also been the case this year with just the changes in the tariffs that have changed very rapidly, very little warning, so it's been very unpredictable. Companies in the transportation industry have had to adapt on the fly and kind of put out fires as a result of this. Thoughts on how you can support companies trying to get through the uncertainty and the sort of the chaos of the moment, and also look ahead to a future where things settle and maybe we have a clearer picture of what the playing field looks like, with maybe a new normal for global trade.
Well, the uncertainty and rapid changes that have happened certainly highlight the fact that it's important to be able to see what's going on now and to make good decisions today, even though you can't fully plan, make long-term decisions. You constantly need to leave yourself in a position to pivot with the market, and again, that's where timely and real-time information visibility is crucial. Yeah, some of the changes they're talking about in freight patterns, and aside from a big rush to get imports through the ports, before a tariff may go into effect, aside, the long-term ability of just moving where the freight comes from, still means stuff has to be moved. I don't think it's going to dramatically decrease the amount of freight that needs to get hauled. And whether an item is built outside the country or inside the country, I'm not sure there's enough difference in the freight to be moved to in the long term make that difference in the overall freight market. Stuff's going to continue to move to get stuff to the consumer, who is spending every penny they've got these days. Trucks are still going to play a major role. So
for sure. Another very interesting thing we see in the exhibit hall this year, which we haven't seen in the past, is an Aurora autonomous truck here in the exhibit hall. Of course, that reflects the integration partnership that McLeod has with Aurora. Aurora, of course, is one of the leading autonomous trucking companies. They're a developer of virtual driver software for driverless trucks, and they're on the road in Texas today. But for that technology to really make its way into the industry, it has to fit into the way the transportation industry operates. and that means integrating with a TMS. So you're working with Aurora to connect their virtual driver technology with your TMS platform so companies can dispatch and monitor and manage driverless trucks much like they manage their trucks today. Why was it so important to work on that and to offer this, really this is emerging technology, but to really bring that pathway to your customers so they can think about really tapping into autonomous capacity in their operations in the near future?
Well, this technology, the autonomous truck technology, I believe it has this tremendous power in impacting the business models that we currently see in the transportation industry. It could flip, a number of business models, on the upside down. I said, hey, it could go two ways with autonomous trucks. It could either boil down to, hey, there's only half dozen trucking companies in the country left. They're massive companies with hundreds of thousands of trucks each, out there on the grid. Or it could become the new American dream. I buy a truck, put it out on the grid, and just collect a royalty check because it's been matched up and dispatched automatically. There are lots of ways that the technology could be played out, but you've got to have access to that technology to be able to play in that market space. So however it unfolds, we want our customers to be in prime position to take part in that real revolution, which is projected to be very, very slow to roll out over the next 10 years. It's just projected to be 13% of the miles of the trucks on the road being run autonomously 10 years from now. But it will be significant at some point. It will have a significant impact on business models. Our goal, and we've talked to all of the autonomous truck developers about this integration, and we would expect to have integrations with really all the players that succeed in the marketplace. Aurora happens to be the first one ready to actually implement integration, and they're doing a great job with it. We're really happy to be a part.
This episode is brought to you by DMC Insurance. DMC is a specialized underwriter of trucking insurance, providing world-class risk engineering and claims solutions. They are part of the Crum & Forster Group, a national commercial property and casualty group of insurance companies with an A+ superior financial strength rating from AM Best. DMC is a passionate team committed to delivering the best insurance experience and results. Visit dmcinsurance.com to learn what you can gain by partnering with a trucking insurance company that is doing things the right way to protect you.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch, and it has been a very slow process of commercializing this technology. I mean, I do remember when this was still very pie in the sky, seemed very futuristic, but it's become more and more real every day, and it's happening very slowly, gradually, but it is happening. So it is, and I think that another element that makes it more real is tying in with the software systems that are already used today in the industry. That's yet another step toward making this a true rollout and getting the technology out into the market, in a scalable way. This is a milestone year for McLeod Software. It's 40 years in business, so I wanted to talk about that. This could maybe be our closing topic here, but a lot has changed since 1985. Technology has advanced by leaps and bounds. It's almost unrecognizable in many ways. The industry has changed a lot in that time, of course. But you look at the overall technology landscape on our industry, even within the 14 years that I've been covering it, Transport Topics, so much change. So many of the vendors have merged, so many acquisitions, so many new players that have entered the field, have entered the industry, and McLeod has kind of been this constant, right? It's been a growing constant. Maybe the stablest ship on this chaotic sea of transportation technology. Maybe just reflect on the last 40 years, how much the product has grown, how much your customer base has grown, and how have you been able to grow over these 4 decades, and What have been your keys to success?
Well, once we started at a great time when you could bootstrap a technology company. So many vertical market software companies were established in the mid-'80s because that's when the technology began to become affordable for the majority of businesses. At the same time, in transportation, deregulation had just occurred, and so it was an industry under rapid change, and that represents great opportunity for technology providers, to help enable some of the changes that are happening very quickly. Of course, there was a lot of competition on a lot of companies also going after that same market. We were fortunate to have some very, very bright people, some great people that have helped make things for our customers, and really great customers that worked with us, kept us pointed in the right direction, held us accountable, and helped us to maintain our focus on the industry and develop that on the long term. With today's climate of private equity investment and looking for a quick hit and a quick return, would be very difficult for any company to come in and start with the patience that we were able to have from that. And from the outside and seeing some other transactions, what that looks like, just arbitrage. They're looking for their 20% in a 3 to 5 year time frame. Sometimes that can work, but sometimes it just creates turbulence and turnover. It's a free country, so you're allowed to do that. And we've looked at possibilities for accelerating growth, but we believe we can deliver the best value to our customer by holding the course, by having predictable outcomes for our products, maintaining a roadmap that fits our customers' goal, and we'll certainly move forward as we see opportunity, but we're looking to help our customers get the best return on their investment, as well as we're looking for the best return for our development efforts as well.
Yeah, and speaking of looking forward, what's the best vision you could give us as to what McLeod software looks like 10 years from now when you celebrate your 50th anniversary? What might the company look like? What might the product look like at that point? You don't have a crystal ball, but where do you see, what's your best idea of what the future might hold?
Yeah, I'm not all that great at forecasting. Especially 10 years out. Certainly we got plenty of room to run in terms of technology capability via AI and the autonomous realm. There'll be a lot more automation, and there'll be more ways to manage the information. But freight will still be getting moved. Stuff has to ride on a truck, and we'll hope to be a part of helping that move.
Yeah, well, whatever the future holds, we know that there will be a need for freight transportation that is the foundation for our whole economy and our way of life. It will be very fascinating to see it develop in the years ahead. Tom, I always appreciate the chance to chat with you and see you at this conference. Thanks for the invitation and the conversation here. It's been a great conversation.
Great.
And I'll let you get back to the show.
Seth, thank you very much.
You bet.
Before we close, let's take a moment to revisit our original question. How can motor carriers and freight brokers effectively harness emerging technologies? As we've heard during this episode, the latest AI features and other new technologies can't just exist in separate silos. They need to integrate with the software and systems that companies use to run their operations. Those integrations are essential because no single developer will corner the market on AI applications for freight transportation. As numerous startups and tech developers bring new products to the market, trucking businesses must be able to connect those new features into their existing workflows. Even autonomous trucks will need to integrate with the industry's current systems and operations. If you've enjoyed this episode of RoadSigns, please let others know. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If my questions have sparked questions of your own, share them with me and the RoadSigns team. You can email us at share@ttnews.com. Also, let us know how we did by texting TT Survey to 571-622-0001. And of course, we'll be back soon with a fresh episode of Road Signs. Until then, I'm Seth Clevenger. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining us. Road Signs is a Transport Topics production.